evaluations, shortlists, and everything. We are really happy with the response that we got from our previous webinars from the students, and it is students like you actually who have given us the motivation to organize this bootcamp at a much larger scale where everyone can get benefit out of it. And before proceeding ahead, I'd like to share names of some students who got absolutely fantastic value out of the webinars that we have done in the past. And naming a few, I'd like to share the name. We have Vijay from Noida, and Vijay was quite short on the funds, and he felt like scholarship is not easy to get. But after watching our webinar on myths about studying abroad, he not only enrolled for one-to-one counseling with us, he also got a scholarship for $10,000. Man, absolutely fantastic, Vijay, from you. Then, guys, we have Rahul from Chennai, who attended the webinar on how to shortlist universities and was able to know about the tips and tricks of how to shortlist universities. And he got admit into the most ambitious universities that he shortlisted for himself. So again, kudos Rahul, man, great effort, great value out of the webinars that we have been doing. Lastly, we have Vishal, who had his visa rejected twice from USA, and he attended our visa session with Priyank, and he got his visa accepted in just one go, guys, with admit card, just one go. So that is an amazing thing to do. So guys, we'll be covering each and every topic in detail in the bootcamp right now. And before moving ahead, I'd like you guys to be ready with pen and paper, because I'm damn sure you will be getting tons and tons of value in this webinar. So be ready with your pen and paper. I can see there are many people who have joined. There are more than 100 people who are watching this right now. So guys, let's start. Let's Piyush, please, let's begin the webinar bootcamp that people have been waiting for. Please share your profile and your vision for Admit Card with everyone.
Thanks, Prithvi, and thanks to the entire team Admit Card that has made this unique bootcamp possible. First in the history of study abroad industry, and we are really proud to bring all this information to you. And thanks to all of you for joining. My name is Piyush. I'm one of the co-founders of Admit Card, and I've been fortunate, to be part of this journey of many students. I actually did my engineering from IIT Roorkee back in 2006. After which I joined the oil and gas industry and worked in very unique countries like Nigeria and Mexico. And there I've been, after working for about four years, I came back to Bangalore. I think there was some glitch in the live stream.
Yeah, please go ahead, Piyush. I think we are back now.
So as I came back to Bangalore to do my MBA, post which I worked with a company called Boston Consulting Group. That's a management consulting company, and I worked with them for about 4 years, which taught me a lot of valuable lessons about how to make good decisions. And using those skills, I wanted to be an entrepreneur, and we started our first company, LifePad, in the real estate domain, which got acquired, and then we started Admit Card with a much larger vision of helping students make the right decisions and helping them through the process of enhancing their careers. The vision for Admit Card is primarily that the team behind Admit Card comes from very premium universities around the world, and
people are thinking it's not live.
इवेंट पे लाइव नहीं किया आपने इवेंट बनाया ना ये यूट्यूब स्टूडियो से बनाया
हाँ तो मतलब वही URL फ्लोट हुआ है पीपल उस पे कमेंट्स कर रहे हैं
लाइव आप दूसरा वो दो आप उसको
यार अब URL थोड़ा चेंज कर सकते हैं
URL चेंज कर दो आप
URL ही चेंज कर सकते हैं
इस वीडियो को डाल दो कमेंट में डाल दो URL
आप मेरे को पिंग करो कमेंट में आप डालो
व्हाट्स द चैलेंज
सो आई बिलीव हम लाइव किसी और URL पे इन लोगों ने अरेंज किया है बट हमने कोई और फ्लोट किया है 56 पीपल आर वेटिंग ऑन रॉन्ग URL बट यार हम लोग ने बोला था कि हम लोग को उसी पे होना चाहिए था ना
कैन वी शिफ्ट टू दैट URL
विजय वाले पे
स्टार्ट ऑल ओवर अगेन
हाँ मतलब विजय वाले पे लोग हैं उसको स्टार्ट करते हैं
channel different है
नहीं
मैंने लिंक डाला था तो उसमें लाइव हो
But उस link पे कोई है? Are there people there?
11 people are watching 11 are now
क्या करें
20 are watching you live 20 are watching
so let's float the. So guys, I believe there is some glitch in the YouTube live video that we are streaming live right now. So we have a lot of people live on some other channel or some other URL. So let's just wait for 2 seconds. So let's float that URL on that older one in the comment section so that those guys can join. So guys, if you can hear us, please comment study abroad in the comment section, in the chat section, so that we can know that you guys are watching us, listening us, and we are, you know, reachable to us. Please comment study abroad in the comment section right now.
people are coming on that
So I can see Sai Chandu has commented study abroad, Jyotsna Tiwari has commented study abroad, we have Pritha Kushwaha studying abroad, Ratan Shah is here, Biswati Changoti is here, then we have PRZ Vlogs here, Shivani Sharma, Sagar Joshi, Lokik Kabaddi, Siddharth Bokil, Loknath Roy. We have everyone live here, guys. Great. So guys, let me just quickly check if nobody is waiting on the previous URL. So guys, can you just
we will tally that for you.
So keep on commenting the old URL there, right? The new URL there. Great. So I can see Disha Singh commenting study abroad in all caps. Disha, you're waiting for this webinar desperately. We are just about to start. Great. We have 35 people watching. Great, Jatin. Jatin, I can see your query right now. We'll be addressing all of your queries towards the end of the webinar. So just guys, hold on to your horses. Let us just wait for 5-10 more seconds. ठीक है ठीक है. So guys, welcome to the Admit Card Study Abroad Bootcamp. This is the first time ever that a bootcamp is being organized in the history of abroad education, and we take quite pride in saying this. Admit Card is organizing this and absolutely free of cost. All the amazing offers that you guys will be getting today, all the profile evaluations, shortlist, everything. Tons of value, guys. I can promise you and I can assure you that. And you know, before proceeding ahead, I'd like to share the names of some of the students who were very deeply benefited from our webinars that we have been doing from past some days. So starting, we have Vijay from Noida. Vijay was quite short on the funds and he felt like scholarship is not easy to get, but he attended our webinar on, you know, the myths about studying abroad, and he was able to get $10,000 in scholarship. Alright guys, amazing Vijay, kudos to you, man. Then we have Rahul from Chennai. So Rahul actually attended our webinar on how to shortlist universities and was able to know the tips and tricks on shortlisting universities and was able to get admit from the most ambitious university that he shortlisted for his profile. So amazing, great man, great work Rahul. And lastly, I'd also like to share about Vishal. So Vishal actually got his visa rejected twice for USA before coming to Admit Card, and he attended our Priyank's webinar on visa session, and he got his visa accepted in just one go, guys, just one go with Admit Card. So there's absolutely fantastic amount of content, valuable content coming your way right now, free of cost. Be ready with pen and paper so that you can jot down all your queries. I can see you guys already are asking a lots and lots of queries with us. So we'll answer all your queries towards the end of the webinar. So let's start our bootcamp that all you have been waiting for. Welcome Piyush, welcome to the bootcamp, and let's go ahead.
Thanks Prithvi, and thanks to Team Admit Card for organizing this great initiative of the bootcamp. Quickly introducing myself, I'm Piyush, one of the co-founders at Admit Card. I've been lucky to be part of some of the great institutions around the world. I did my undergrad from IIT Roorkee and my MBA from IIM Bangalore. Before actually starting out as an entrepreneur, I've worked in oil and gas industry as well as in the management consulting domain with a company called Boston Consulting Group. I've also done small stints of studies at Tsinghua University in China and KTH Sweden.
Great.
Actually, if I say, how did the idea and, the vision of Admit Card came about is a lot of people, because we were from, good universities, would come and ask us for help in terms of, how should they further their career or where should they go and study. And a lot of the time when, because of the competition in India, a lot of those students were not able to get into quality and premium universities, and they would try and evaluate and understand where else to go. Also, as part of the management consulting experience, we learned and practiced how to take great decisions, how to take data backed decisions, and we wanted to utilize our skills of in decision making in the domain of study abroad.
Okay.
We started our first company in real estate, and then when we sold that company, Rachit and I were celebrating in UK.
Okay.
And that's where we met some of the Indian students who were studying in London. And we organized a small session with them at a cafe very close to the London Bridge. Okay. And that's where we kind of heard very horrifying stories about how they were misguided or misled into choosing in certain opportunities which were probably not in their best interest.
Okay.
So that is when we started to explore the whole domain of how to make this decision of choosing a university for education. And because our initiation was in the international domain, we started looking at how to use the right decision making frameworks for selecting the right education opportunities. So
great.
If I say that Admit Card, we started it to provide transparent and right information to the students, and that is what we have kept as central to our overall approach.
Definitely.
Over the last 2 years, we realized also that many times just finding information from universities or doing our own research is insufficient, because a lot of the kind of information that you want is not available on Google.
Yes,
or you're not
absolutely
available on the open web.
Exactly.
Now, how did we solve that problem? So we started reaching out to students who are studying at those universities, interviewing them, understanding their experience, their challenges, their review of their education that they were receiving.
Okay.
And basis that, we started our mentorship program.
Okay.
Where we started signing up these students as mentors on our platform, who are now with the mature product. They are available on our platform to connect with, and students who are looking to go to those universities can connect with them, chat with them, understand their experience live.
So how exactly did this idea of student mentorship program came to your mind? How exactly this came?
I see, Prithvi, that you are using a OnePlus phone.
Yeah, I am using OnePlus, right? Yeah.
And when you, how did you buy it? Did you buy it from some online website, or did you buy it from some store?
So actually, there was good amount of hype for 60 at that point of time when it was about to launch, and I just saw one of my friends who had this phone already. So I just went to him and I said कि यार बताओ भाई मतलब कैसे रिव्यूज है, तुम यूज कर रहे हो उसको एक हफ्ते से, and कैसे रिव्यूज है? तो उसने बताया कि यार अच्छा फोन है, अच्छा चल रहा है. So I went on and I bought this phone for myself. So
see, that is exactly the human mindset that we are kind of emulating. When I was looking at finding a job after my MBA, I spoke to my friends who were working at the Boston Consulting Group, and I took a review from them.
Okay.
How is the company, and is it great to work there? And I got some fantastic reviews.
Okay.
So I attempted to try to interview with them. It is that same nature. Whenever we want to achieve something, we are looking for people who have already achieved those milestones and taking their feedback. Right. It is like if you wanted to buy OnePlus 60 and you go to Amazon, you will have tons of reviews there.
Yes, definitely.
And you can read them, see the ratings, and then make your decision in an informed manner.
Great.
What we thought was that when we were looking for that information, the information was available with these student mentors who are already studying there. So we said, why don't we take this whole concept to the next level? Imagine that you want to buy this phone and you have these reviews online, and you can click on the user's name and start a live chat with them. So for example, if some user has given even a bad review to a particular product. You can understand under what circumstances, under why were they able to not extract the value that they wanted, and why are they unhappy, because that may not be the same thing which is applicable to you.
Absolutely.
So this whole mentorship program came about as an extension of the human mindset, that how we look for feedback from others before we make our decision. And
Great.
that is how we have created this platform where you can talk to students from who are studying in universities around the world, take their feedback before you actually join those schools or even
Yes.
apply for them.
Yeah. So great, great Piyush. So we have lots and lots of queries coming up. Shivangi, Techno King, Life Creations, Ankit Pradhan, Karthik Kari. So guys, please hold on your horses. We have just begun the boot camp. We are just moving ahead. We have 3 days blocked, absolutely free for you. We'll solve all your queries just one by one, and one by one. So the webinar we did, yes, earlier this month and the previous month, we had lots and lots of students who pinged us कि यार आप कुछ उसको बड़े स्केल पे करो एंड उसको और एक ऐसे स्केल पे करो जहां बच्चों को और ज्यादा वैल्यू मिल पाए, राइट? सो एंड हेंस वी आर हियर विद दिस बूट कैंप. सो कैन यू जस्ट शेयर समथिंग अबाउट कि व्हाट वी विल लर्न टुडे? हमारे पास बहुत सारी क्वेरीज ऑलरेडी आ चुकी हैं, हम देख सकते हैं. सो आज हमें क्या वैल्यू मिलने वाली है एंड कमिंग अगले 2 दिनों में हमें जो भी वेबिनार है उनकी क्या वैल्यू हमें डिराइव होने वाली है?
So absolutely, that's important to understand. The concept of this boot camp is that over 3 days we organize a series of sessions, and then depending on wherever you are in your study abroad journey, आप अभी explore कर रहे हो overall idea कि क्या होता है, कैसे पढ़ते हैं, क्या queries हैं, कैसे क्या चीज़ें चाहिए होती हैं so that you are eligible to study. टू स्टूडेंट्स जो शॉर्ट लिस्टिंग ऑलरेडी अपनी इनिशिएट कर चुके हैं, जो कोई टेस्ट प्रेप कर रहा है, कोई ऑलरेडी एप्लीकेशंस के स्टेज पे रेडी है, या फिर कोई ऑलरेडी वीजा अप्लाई करना चाह रहा है. सो वी विल कवर द इंटायर स्पेक्ट्रम ऑफ बेसिक ओवरव्यू नॉलेज ऑफ डिफरेंट कंट्रीज, टू टेस्ट प्रेप, टू एप्लीकेशंस, टू वीजा, एंड post visa how to get yourself settled into that particular country, and how to make the best use of the study abroad opportunity. So we will cover complete end-to-end process of the study abroad journey. We've had more than 1000 registration across all the webinar formats, and I think that is also very encouraging for us, and we have blocked time of our internal experts, myself, Rachit, who is the other co-founder. He's a triple IT Allahabad graduate and an IIM Calcutta student president at IIM Calcutta. He was also working at the same management consulting company as me, and we've been co-founders now in this second company as well. He will share about the test prep information, and how to make the best use of your time, what are the resources, and how to score well in your exams. And then we will have other experts in study abroad domain, especially Priyank and Priyanka, who are our senior counselors, who will be talking about various processes in terms of how to make a great application, as well as how to shortlist your universities, how to prepare your SOPs and LORs, and they will cover all these topics in detail. We also will have Jaya, who has been in content writing for last 5 years, and she's helped more than 700 students in their SOPs and LORs, in helping them bring out the best in their profiles. So she'll also be talking about the tips and tricks of how to write a great SOP, and what points to cover and what things to do in your LOR. So starting with this seminar, which is an overview of the entire study abroad process, we will have another webinar today in the evening on test prep, especially covering GRE and IELTS. On day 2, that is tomorrow, we will have the first webinar on shortlisting and profile evaluation. Then the second webinar tomorrow will be on SOP and LOR and the overall admission documentation. On day 3, we have 3 webinars. The first webinar, which a lot of you might want to join, is on scholarships and loans. which will also be taken up by one of the experts who are partnering with us for this webinar. The second webinar will be on the visa application process. A lot of you might still be filing your visa applications for US, UK, Canada, and Ireland, and that session will be quite helpful for you to resolve your queries from there. Lastly, on the closing webinar, which again I will be providing, is going to be on pre and post departure guidelines, which will be on how to prepare before you leave for the university, which is also going to be very relevant for students who are joining either July intake in Australia or September intake in US, or any of the other countries. So we'll be covering a lot of these points in terms of in detail,
in greater details,
in making sure that you understand in depth. And in these 3 days, if you attend all the webinars, you will be absolutely clear about what is required to make your study abroad journey a success.
Great. So I hope guys, you guys are very clear about the schedule that we guys will be following for the webinar bootcamp. Our schedule is also live on the registration page from which you guys might have registered. I'll also quickly go through the offers that all you attendees will be getting in this webinar bootcamp. So that is very important. Apart from the tremendous amount of value that you will be getting for the study abroad process, there are some offers as well that Admit Card has for you guys. So for all the people who are who want to register for test prep, we will give them up to 40% off on their English and academic exam booking fees. So I think that's the most brilliant offer that you guys will be getting. So you guys no longer will have to pay 100% of your registration fees on the English exams or your aptitude exams. So you will be getting a discount of up to 40% off on that. Apart from that, on the shortlist and profile evaluation, we guys will be providing you guys a free university shortlist and free profile evaluation in that webinar. So I can see there are many people who have commented their profiles and everything. So guys, not only we will discuss these profiles in the bootcamp, in the webinar that we will be doing, we will also be personally sending you an email with the shortlisted universities that we will shortlist for you, and that also absolutely free of cost. So you guys don't have to worry about anything. Then again, we will be providing free SOP editing services for top 100 registrants. Guys, make sure this is only for top 100 registrants because we are also short on resources. So we have to make sure कि यार हम सारे SOPs जो है वो time पे complete कर पा रहे हैं.
And frankly, it's not about who reviews it. So Jaya, who's the main expert on the same topic, she will be the one who will be reviewing it. So I think that's a great opportunity for all of you who are aspiring to apply for top universities.
Exactly, and those who are looking for visa application, guys, this is the biggest one coming. So we guys will be providing you up to 100% visa fee waiver on your visa application fees. Right, guys, you heard it right. Up to 100% visa application fee waiver on the guys who will be registering for the visa and who will be going in the next intakes, I believe. Right, great. So Piyush, I believe everyone is clear with the offer. Everyone is clear with the schedule, and so guys. So Piyush, let's start with our today's webinar. So today, guys, we will be covering the complete study abroad journey end to end, and so let's suppose I am a student who want to go abroad, and let's suppose जितने बहुत सारी जनता है जो हमारे registrations हुए हैं उस पे we can see 80% जो लोग हैं वो मास्टर्स करने के लिए बाहर जाना चाहते हैं, अपने पोस्ट ग्रेजुएशन कंप्लीट करने के लिए बाहर जाना चाहते हैं. जो हमें प्रोफाइल्स यहाँ पे दिख रहे हैं, जो लोग क्वेरीज रेज कर रहे हैं, वो लोग बहुत सारे जो है पीजी पढ़ने के लिए, पीजी के लिए बाहर जाना चाहते हैं, पीजी करने के लिए. सो एक बार आप प्रोसेस गो थ्रू करेंगे कि अगर मैं एक बच्चा हूँ जो अपनी ग्रेजुएशन कर रहा हूँ तो मैं किस तरह से बाहर पढ़ने जा सकता हूँ और क्या प्रोसेस मुझे फॉलो करना चाहिए.
Right. Absolutely, and let's start with the postgraduate admissions, and with all the offers that Prithvi has shared, I also feel like applying for studying abroad now, and I think you guys will all benefit from them. Do keep posted, and if there's any query around the same also. So, like you rightly said, Prithvi, and I would like to kind of break down the process and segregate it as per countries. So if I talk of some of the top countries like US, Canada, Australia, Ireland, and we will cover these 4 countries probably in today's discussion,
Okay.
where most of the students reaching out to us are applying.
Great.
So if we take US as a separate case for postgraduate studies,
Okay.
because US has some typical requirements.
Okay.
So I'll start by why do students actually pick US as a destination, because US has probably the highest number of top universities. If you look at any ranking, any the global 100, 70 to 80 universities would be from US. And so US has proven itself to be the highest quality education provider globally. Also, if you look at US, it's the largest global economy, so work opportunities are also plentiful in US.
Great.
In recent times, people have had a challenge in terms of staying in US for the longer term, given that work permits are reducing. But apart from that, US also gives you a work permit to a work permit after you complete your education.
Okay.
Especially if you are doing STEM programs, which is science, technology, engineering, and mathematics.
Okay.
If your programs are related to this field, you can work up to 3 years in US. And given the strong economy and quality experience that you can gain in those 3 years, that can translate into a great career anywhere in the world. And hence, US becomes a great destination for students to study. I'd also encourage you to go and review the myths about studying abroad webinar that we've done previously, where a lot of students feel that US education is very expensive. But frankly, US has more than 4,000 universities, and there's something that fits everyone.
Okay.
So despite whatever your profile is, whatever unique your need is, you will find a university that fits into your requirements.
Okay.
Now coming to the overall study abroad process and what will be used for evaluating your profile.
Exactly.
The most unique aspect of US is certain standardized tests, namely GRE and GMAT for postgraduate studies. GRE is primarily given by students who are applying for engineering or mathematics regarding programs, and GMAT is given primarily by students applying for management related programs. Although in today's time, they are both interchangeable. Primarily, GMAT can be substituted by GRE for most universities. Now, these are two exams which test both your mathematical quantitative skills as well as your verbal and English skills. GRE exam, which is on a score of 340, and GMAT is on overall score of 800. For if you are targeting global top 20 universities. For example, this year we have a student, she's gotten an admission in MIT for Masters of Computer Design Optimization.
And I can see somebody, so I can see a student is asking how can I get into Ivy League university? So guys, this is something you have to absolutely listen if you have to get into Ivy League universities.
So this year we have one student who's going to MIT for their very, very famous program, Masters in Computer Design Optimization. And she had a GRE score of 335 with a 170 perfect score on the quantitative part. So GRE becomes very important for these top universities if you're going for technical programs. And if you look at some of the absolute top, like MIT or Berkeley or Stanford, their average scores they would specifically look at your quant scores in GRE. And they would focus on a 167 to a 170 score. Whereas if you look at other universities, for example, University of Illinois Chicago or Arizona State University, which have some very good programs in computer science, and we work with those universities very closely. You can get in with even a score of 305 to 350 overall, and with a 160 score in quant. University of Illinois Chicago is also giving a GRE waiver now. So what we can so not confusing, but yes, GRE is an important part of the application and can really help you get into some of the great schools. Although there are certain schools which will give you a GRE waiver, where for the programs where if you are having good academic scores. So once you have your preference in your profile evaluation, you can request for that particular requirement that if you do not want to give GRE, then how you and which universities you can get selected. GMAT is also a very widely accepted exam, not just in US but some of the top business schools around the world.
Okay.
Even in India, ISB accepts GMAT score. Now, if I talk about GMAT, primarily if you look at
Guys, just give it a 1 second, guys. People are saying. So I believe we are back. So guys, if you can hear us, just comment a yes in the chat section. If you guys can hear us, just comment a yes.
Are we audible now, guys? All right, I think yes, we are back. Thank you, everyone. So I'll just quickly repeat my part around. Brilliant. So I'll just quickly, repeat a little bit about what I said about GMAT. So it's a score out of 800 that you'll be getting, and for a top business school, you need a score of around about 750 plus. We have had two admits in Yale and in Stanford who had a score of 760.
Okay.
Otherwise, the 700 plus score is a good score. If you're looking at some of the universities outside of US, even a 650 plus score is good.
Okay.
If you're having score around about 600, it can get you waiver of certain modules in some of the mid-rank universities. But typically, if you are giving GMAT, target 650 plus for sure.
Okay.
And 700 plus score is good. Okay. And with 750 plus, you can target some of the top universities. And GMAT is a score which you can even use for ISB, Hyderabad, Mohali campus.
For Indian universities, some of the Indian universities as well.
So those are the two exams very central for master's programs in US. Although a lot of universities give waiver, especially if you take help of Admit Card, we can guide you to certain universities and good programs where you might be able to get admissions based on only your academics.
Okay.
So absolutely coming to the next point, apart from these examinations, the other way to judge your capability in your analytical skills and your aptitude is your academic scores, which will be comprising of your undergrad program. Undergrad programs in most universities in US, they recognize a 4-year undergraduate degree.
Okay.
And 3-year undergraduate degrees, for MBA it's fine, but for other some of the technical programs, many universities do not accept it. But again,
probably like the science side जो courses होते हैं हमारे
engineering के जैसे होते हैं,
जितने courses हैं,
या फिर statistics, mathematics, core sciences अगर आपने पढ़ना है. But अगर even if, like I said, बहुत सारी universities in US में, so even if you are having a 3-year undergrad, we can definitely find you a program. But that reduces your choices to some extent.
अच्छा.
After that, if I say there is a standardized test of English, which is important. So people going to US either give TOEFL or IELTS. PT is still not accepted across many universities, so those are the two good exams to give. I'll talk about IELTS overall score when that's more of a generic requirement across all universities. If you're looking for scholarships, if you're looking for top universities in engineering or technical programs, having research papers is also a very, very value-added thing in your resume. Because universities in US look at master's candidate and they promote them going for PhDs and looking for research. So they try and get people with research aptitude. Okay. So अगर आप अभी second year में first year of undergrad कर रहे हैं, align yourself with certain professors in your university or even in other universities and try and define a research project. जिसको कोशिश करें कि आप एक इंटरनेशनल जर्नल में पब्लिश कराएं.
Okay. So published की और वैल्यू ज़्यादा है.
The thing is because a lot of people do not write exactly the truth on their applications.
Acha.
And that is where anything which is not verifiable is not considered of high value by these universities. So even if you have done any certification, it is important to have a recognized certificate for that. So for example, Coursera and Udemy, edX, they give you a proper certificate, and those courses can show your interest and your aptitude in that particular field. And that's another part which is helpful for students, especially for those who are looking for a change from, for example, electronics to computer science.
Okay.
Right. Then, if I talk of many of the management programs also require work experience. Even in the technical programs, having work experience, relevant work experience at quality organizations is very helpful. You need to showcase that you have an ability to implement and not just theoretical learning. So that is also very important in the application in US, and they really value work experience. So practical experience is very helpful. Having work experience also is valuable for getting a job after you graduate. So I would like to highlight it, the students who are having work experience, or many students who are right now in the final year and they feel that they've missed out the deadline and then they now have to wait for a year. Use that time for gaining some experience, because that is not only going to add to your application, but also going to be helpful when you're applying for visa for your job after you complete your master's program.
Great.
The other part, which some of the important things to look at are number of backlogs that you have, because universities would want to understand how many reattempts you had. So do not lie on your application. Be truthful. US is very accepting, and they believe in giving second chances. And so there are universities which will accept up to 40 backlogs. So you don't have to worry about it. But yes, you need to focus on making sure, if you are still in the early stages of your undergraduate degree, that you do not get backlogs and try and clear all your exams in one go. One of the other aspects which is also evaluated is the gap year, as to how much gap have you had from your undergrad to now that you are applying.
So is the work experience being adjusted in that gap year?
Absolutely. In US, they count work experience not as part of the gap. So if you've been working for 5 years, that's a great thing in US. And when I come to the other countries, I mean, that's a paradox on the other side. So having a gap where you have not been working, or you've been preparing for an exam, that's not really looked very well upon, and more than a couple of years, there's a higher chances of getting a rejection from good universities. So if you are having quality, try to avoid that gap. Find some work to do during that time, and make sure that you are not sitting idle. If I also talk of one of the main things which is the core part of the decision making for studying in US, is the budget. Because a lot of the good universities, top universities, they're private universities, and they would cost up to 40 to 50 lakhs for a 2-year program in tuition fee. And they are in big cities, and the living expenses can be quite high, up to 10 lakhs per year. So a total budget of around about 60 to 70 lakhs. Whereas if you look at MBA programs, they can go as high as 1 to 1.5 CR Indian rupees. But if you look at US as a whole, it is not that expensive. You have universities offering programs at 7 to 12 lakhs per annum as well, and they will get the same OPT after that. You can also do program with 12 lakhs of total tuition fee, because the duration of the program, master's program, will be less than 2 years. So 1 to 1.5 years. So that way, US budget will decide what kind of university that you can apply for. Although the opportunities would be similar in terms of work permit, but of course, going to a better university, better pedigree will put you, will put you in good stead in the long term. So overall, if I talk in that way, that US budget can be, you can study with any budget that you want. There are certain universities which provide good scholarships to students to make the budget much lesser. And even if they show a tuition fee of 15-20 lakhs per year, we have great relations with them, and we can get up to 50% of scholarships for the students.
Great.
So that is another way of making that the budget comes into your into within your reach. So overall, if I say, US has a great job opportunity post graduation, because again, given that it's the world's largest economy,
Yes.
And you have a work permit already given to you as part of your study program, and that is where you can utilize that opportunity to get very high quality experience, which is going to be useful anywhere in the world.
Great.
And so that is, if I had to summarize the overall scope and requirements, what part of your profile is important in US.
So I see there are lots and lots of queries for Canada. So can we now just pick Canada, Piyush, and tell our students कि Canada में हमारी क्या requirements होती है UG PG के लिए,
Yes.
and how they can prepare for that.
So Canada is right now one of the hottest destinations for Indian students. Canada as a study destination has been growing in double digits. Number of Indian students going to Canada increased by 23% last year. So Canada loves Indian students, and Indians are loving Canada. And that is corroborated with the number of queries we are getting here.
Exactly.
Frankly, if I share, Canada has two education systems. One is their university system, which is very similar and runs parallel to the US system.
Okay.
And the requirements are very similar. And then there is a college system which provides diplomas in undergraduate programs and postgraduate diplomas in master's program.
Okay.
Which are the main programs that the Indian students are choosing.
Okay.
Starting with the universities have very similar requirements.
Okay.
In terms of what I spoke for US. Although many universities for their programs you do not require a GRE or a GMAT score.
Okay.
So that's a relaxation. More universities here are available with that waiver.
Okay.
Also, most of the universities typically will take only 4-year undergraduate for master's programs.
Achha.
And that is one of the constraints. Although there are a couple of universities where students with 3-year undergrad have gone, namely York University and University of Western Ontario, which you guys can evaluate if you have done or completing a 3-year undergrad.
Okay.
Canada for their universities for their for their master's program look at primarily your last 2 years of undergraduate scores.
Okay.
And in the last 2 years, you should have an aggregate of more than 72 to 75%, depending on the university.
Okay.
So if your scores are slightly on the lower side, then there's a high chance of not getting accepted. But
Achha.
more than 75%, you can definitely get into Canadian universities. Typically, the tuition fee will be between 15 to 20 lakhs per annum.
Achha.
And the program in Canada should be typical of, you should try and take a program of 2 years so that you can get a 3-year work permit in Canada post that.
Okay.
Coming to the point of scholarships in Canadian universities, we've not had many students get scholarships, as Canadian universities having a very high demand of students, and typically, unless you're having exceptional academics and research papers, the scholarships are fewer.
Okay. In Canada.
In Canada.
Okay. So is it at the UG level or PG level?
At both levels.
At both the levels.
At both the levels. Some of the universities where a lot of undergraduate students are going in universities are University of Toronto, University of British Columbia, University of Waterloo. At undergraduate level, they are less competitive. At masters, they are more. And undergraduate degrees in Canada are typically of 4 years, and they are some of the best universities in the world, and the tuition would be somewhere around 15 lakhs per annum.
So we have very interesting query from Jyoti Ranjan Kar from in the chat section right now relating to the topic that you're saying. So he's saying, is there any scholarship which will cover my cost of living and those expenses there?
So living expenses in Canada are very easy to cover because it's a large economy, but an aging economy, so they need a lot of young people. As when you're studying in Canada, and the same holds true for Australia and Ireland, that you get 20 hours of part-time work permit per week while as a student. And typically, with the earning, even if you are working for 15 to 16 hours, you can cover up your entire living expenses.
Okay.
So that is one way of ensuring that you are not dependent on any scholarships or anything which is that uncertain.
Okay.
That work permit is available before you even start studying.
Achha.
So that's a great opportunity for students to use that time not only to improve their English, to gel in within the society, to make new friends, to learn communication and interactive skills, but at the same time earn and cover their living expenses.
Absolutely.
So that's also a great opportunity offered by by Canada. The more interesting part is where a lot of Indian students, because they are short on budget, they pick Canadian colleges which offer 2-year diploma for students who want to go for undergraduate programs. 1-year fee is 7 lakhs, so 2-year fees comprising total goes to 15 lakhs. Roundabout.
Okay.
And same way for a PG diploma of 1 year of 7 lakhs and 2 years of 15 lakhs. So if you study for 1 year, you get a 1-year work permit. If you study for 2 years, you get a 3-year work permit.
Okay.
And that gives you a very strong return on investment. Because while you are studying, you work part-time as well to cover your living.
Right.
Then you have 3 years to actually recover the 15 lakhs that you've invested in your education. At the same time, gain very high quality experience.
Absolutely.
So that is the route which a lot of Indian students are taking to establish themselves as a strong professional in the Canadian economy. By naturalizing themselves in Canada with the Canadian education.
Okay.
And Canada में जो colleges हैं, they are not like a typical one-room college that कई बार हमारे को इंडिया में सुनने को आता है. They are big colleges having as good an infrastructure as universities. Some of the colleges like George Brown College, Seneca College are very highly rated. The difference between a college and a university is that a college focuses on work placement, so that you are ready for jobs.
Achha.
Whereas universities, their mandate is to focus on research. Okay. And do higher level of skill development.
Okay.
So therefore, the two systems in Canada, although in India we may think that the colleges may be a slightly lower level education, okay, but Canadian colleges provide very high quality education and make you ready for the job market.
Okay, so we have one query from Biswaji. He's asking, is work experience necessary for diploma in Canada?
Work experience is absolutely not necessary for a diploma in Canada. Diploma is an undergraduate program, so most students applying, they will go directly after their 12th class. Achha. Or even if they have a gap of 1 year or 2 years, they can apply. Achha. If you are taking a rule of thumb, the colleges, one more important part is that in the colleges, a 3-year undergraduate degree is acceptable. Where students find trouble in universities, where a 4-year undergraduate degree is required. Okay. For undergraduate programs, it's fine. 12th के बाद में दोनों में work करता है. But if you look at students who are going for diploma programs, which is an undergraduate program, after 12th, students need to have at least 60 to 75% marks in their 12th class.
12th class.
And having mathematics is a big plus. Otherwise, the programs that they can apply for become slightly lesser.
Yes, sir.
But even with 60% in your 12th, you can get a diploma. You can enroll in a diploma program in Canada.
And what about PG diploma?
PG diploma, again, the cutoff is more around 50% in your undergraduate degree. If your undergraduate degree is 3 years, I'm saying PG diploma is offered by colleges again. And if you have undergraduate degree of 3 years, then maximum 6 backlogs. If your undergraduate degree is of 4 years, then maximum 8 backlogs.
And work experience?
Work experience is not required.
Not required.
You can absolutely go directly after your undergraduate programs.
Alright, great. So guys, I can see all your queries. We are trying to answer maximum queries right now, but at the end, we will take all your queries one by one. So keep watching, stay tuned with us. Thirdly, I can see there are a lot of queries on Germany. Mm-hmm. So Germany is quite, I believe, a hot destination right now for Indian students. So just share some knowledge about Germany with us.
So Germany again is a very upcoming destination.
Okay.
Unlike many of the European countries and very similar to UK, Germany actually has a lot of universities.
Okay.
And Germany is one of the fastest growing economies in Europe. So Germany ने क्या सोचा? Germany ने बोला कि यार I should also attract international talent to my country, and so that they can help build Germany and help Germany grow even faster. So they've started in the last 5 years. They've launched a lot of programs which are English taught.
अच्छा.
Why students come to get excited about Germany now is because they are now teaching in English. So even if you don't know German, you can go and study in Germany. The other very interesting fact about Germany is that they have a lot of public universities, government universities in Germany, which still do not charge any tuition fee, even from international students.
So guys, listen to this. बहुत सारी queries आ रही है जर्मनी में फीस को लेके. So जो भी queries हैं guys, just listen to this. जर्मनी में फीस का क्या हाल है?
So even some of the top universities in Germany, they don't charge any fees. And there are certain universities which have now started charging a small fee, about 5 to 7 lakh rupees per year, which is still very less as compared to other countries.
Yes.
Now, of course, they also want top students in these universities, right? And students are going primarily for master's program. And students need to have somewhere between 70 to 80% at least in their undergraduate courses if they're applying for master's program. They need to give GRE for most of the universities. Though some universities also give a GRE waiver, but then those universities will have some tuition fee as well. So the public universities which are free of charge will require a GRE, will require at least 75 to 80% of undergraduate score. And will require an IELTS exam, which is an exam of English. But I would like to say a word of caution, because of this, a lot of students get excited. कि भाई चलो अब तो जर्मनी ही पढ़ना है, फास्ट ग्रोइंग इकोनॉमी, फ्री में पढ़ेंगे, and हम बड़े meritorious students हैं. There are also certain challenges which come with Germany. Right? Germany being a European country, Euro currency, it is an expensive place to live. So a university can give a waiver of your tuition fee, but you still have to cover your living expenses. So Germany, again, you have 20 hours of part-time work opportunity available per week. If you are getting that job, you can cover your living expenses also. So you can genuinely study for free if you want. But having some knowledge of German language is important for getting a good part-time job. So if you are not getting a part-time job, then living expenses will be somewhere between 10 lakhs to 12 lakh rupees per year. And if you are doing a 1.5 to 2 years degree, and you can calculate that, still it will be having some expenses, and it is not going to be that typical free of cost studies. So keep that in mind. Also, when a student is going, there are certain charges. Air tickets are involved, visa fee is involved. So be aware that there are going to be some charges which are going to be there. And it is not that it is going to be a free lunch for you. Also, we encourage students who are going to Germany to learn German language. Because when you are starting to work in that particular country, to get to gel within that society, you should be able to speak their language. I worked in Mexico for 3 years, and I give my example that I was working in a company called Schlumberger, and Spanish is the language in Mexico. So everybody in my company spoke English, but then I had to work with the National Oil Company of Mexico, and there everyone only spoke Spanish. Now I could be an average performer there, speaking English, using translators, and having a tough life, but because I learned Spanish, I could grow very quickly in that environment, and that was a very big plus for me. So if you are going to any country, namely France, Italy, or any country that you are going to study where the primary language is not English, it is highly advisable that you learn those languages as well, so as to get a better opportunity for yourself. Especially if you are going for management related programs where communication is going to be a very key skill for excellence at your work.
Absolutely. So I believe people are clear with their queries for Germany now. So now let's move on to UK, and post UK we will start answering one by one all the queries that we are getting on the live chat right now.
So I'll quickly cover UK and Australia both. And so UK again has 1,000 plus universities. All those students who are looking for a work permit post their studies do not prefer UK, because you may get 0 to 6 months of work permit post your studies. although their government is trying to revise that policy and restore the old law of 2 years, but that has not happened yet. But otherwise, UK is a great destination. Top universities will require GMAT for management program, but otherwise the process is very similar to Canada. You do not require any of those standardized exams, only a score of English.
Absolutely.
In IELTS or TOEFL. And many universities will also accept a letter called medium of instruction
Absolutely.
if you have done your prior education in English.
Okay.
And you can actually give that letter taken from your university and get a waiver of the English exam as well.
Okay.
And otherwise, the rest of the evaluation remains quite similar. Some of the top cities to go to are London, Manchester, Liverpool, Birmingham, and Kent. And those are some of the areas where a lot of Indian students are still going.
And are still there.
It's still quite a popular destination. Quickly ending with Australia. Australia, the great part is that you can go into world's top 20 countries, 20 universities, even with a 3-year undergraduate degree. And the admission process is very simple. No GRE or GMAT is required.
Okay.
No work experience is mandatory. They have the highest variety of programs after US.
Okay.
And especially their programs in business analytics are very, very popular.
Okay.
Also, Canada and Australia are two countries which are having the most structured permanent residency program, which also students look at, and that's something that attracts them to those countries. Australia has one of the highest standards of living, a great job market, and
beautiful country.
Beautiful country, and I think that's again
plus
point for Australia. So I would say some of the top destinations, again, if you are exploring for yourself, US, Canada, Australia, Ireland are the top 4 in the English-speaking countries.
Absolutely.
And in the non-English speaking, you can probably look at Germany and France.
Okay, great. So I believe people are clear with their generic queries regarding the study abroad process in the top countries जहाँ से इंडिया से बच्चे बाहर पढ़ने जाते हैं और जाना चाहते हैं. So now पीयूष, I would request you कि हम लोग quickly queries एक बार आंसर करते हैं जो बच्चे हम लोगों से इतनी देर से पूछ रहे हैं, and we are trying to answer them
absolutely
consistently. So let's guys, now you can actively start asking your queries here and we will answer you. So we'll start with Vinny. So Vinny is asking, so let's quickly answer these queries. Here I completed my graduation after 7 years of my 12th. During this period I am doing job as a personal gym trainer. Now I want to do chiro practices in Canada or New Zealand. Is it possible?
So Vinny, of course, I would like to understand a bit more about your undergraduate program that you have done, and how long ago have you completed it. It's great that you've had relevant experience in the fitness and the exercise domain, and I think that is very helpful in terms of showcasing your profile. We had one student who went with about 5 years of work experience after a mechanical engineering program in the domain of sports management and sports exercise. There are diploma programs available in Canada which you can definitely target. New Zealand, for this particular domain, I would probably not suggest that as the best place for you to go, but Canada would be a good destination where you can create a good career for yourself.
Great. So next in the line we have Nikita Anand, who is asking about, please sir, talk about sustainable urbanism course. What is the scope of this course in foreign?
Right, and so I met a few students from this particular program in Australia recently. They graduated from RMIT in urban planning and sustainable development, and this is a very important program in terms of in countries which are growing in infrastructure quite rapidly, and they have a strong focus on how to grow sustainably and how to do urban development sustainably. So some of the countries which are growing and urbanizing at a very rapid rate, of course, are Australia and Canada. In Australia, it is part of their long-term skill shortage list as well. One word of caution is that the jobs primarily are available in the government sector. Okay. So if you're having some prior experience, that will be very helpful for you to get a job as well post your studies. Okay. Although these countries have very well made programs for this. So I would suggest you to pick Australia for that particular choice. Your second preference can be Canada or US.
All right. So now we have Leon who is asking, are public universities good choice for engineering? What about the funding part? In USA.
In US, okay. So in USA, public universities, of course, are a great choice for engineering. Unlike many of the other countries, they are, which are not sort of having a very developed education system, they have a very strong standard of faculty and standard of education that they need to maintain. Public universities sometimes become quite economical as well because their tuition fees are lower. Also, they are situated in small student towns, so the living is also more economical, and hence you might want to pick them. More importantly, you need to be good at whatever you are doing, and then you can find a great opportunity in US. About funding, US is the country where you get maximum amount of funding from the universities because especially the public universities, they get a lot of federal funding to promote research.
Okay.
So you should target graduate assistantship, which is helping your professors there in marking and teaching in their classes. Teaching assistantship specifically focused on teaching within the class, or looking at research assistantship, where you can help the professors in research. And if you're getting any of those assistantships, it will practically cover your entire your tuition as well as your living expense as well, because they are very lucrative. For that you need a strong TOEFL score, and for research assistantship, typically you will need 2 research papers to be considered for that. If you're having a good TOEFL score, definitely as part of your application, you should try and apply for teaching assistantship or graduate assistantship. If you're not getting it immediately, you can also apply once you're there and starting your program.
Great. So Piyush, let me just share one thing. I've got so much of value in last 1 hour. Though I myself am an aspirant for studying abroad in next year, but I myself now feel I've started to feel कि भाई मैं मतलब counseling कर सकता हूँ बच्चों की. इतना मेरे को value already मिल चुका है, and I believe guys आप लोगों को भी इतना value मिल चुका है. So I believe Leon, you are sorted with your query. Next we have Abhishekta Das Gupta who is asking, please talk about arts and social sciences in US, Canada, and UK.
Right. Is it at an undergraduate or a postgraduate level?
So I believe Abhishekta, can you please just answer, is it for undergraduate or postgraduate? And while you're answering, let's move on to the next query. So we have Ajit Verma. Sir, I have 73.4% in my UG in civil engineering. Can I get master's admit from universities in Canada if I meet the IELTS criteria?
Vijit, absolutely. Like I said that 73% you've done in engineering from India, so I'm assuming it's a 4-year program. Typically students do better in their last year, so I'm assuming that your last 2 years aggregate of percentage would be more than 72%. If that is the case and you don't have backlogs more than 6, yes, if you clear IELTS, you can get admission in Canadian universities. And you can fill your profile evaluation form on admit card, and our team will help you and guide you through the process.
Great, great. So next we have Pritha. GRE is not required for taking admission in Australia. How should Pritha is saying GRE is not required for taking admission in Australian universities. How should I start planning for colleges in there? I have currently completed my second year in 87.1% in first year and 89.9% in the second year.
So Pritha, first of all, congratulations for doing so well in your studies. Yes, and GRE is not going to be required in Australia. If you have completed 2 years, the one thing and the foremost thing you need to focus on is your academics, and that is the main criteria that will be used for judging your profile. If you maintain an 85% plus, I can assure you that you will get into the top 5 universities in Australia. For the engineering program, I'm assuming computer science or a similar related degree. Even if it is some other program, yes, you will be able to get. One word which I can share is that since you are planning early, if you give GRE, that increases your chances of getting scholarships. So if you are having time and if you want to plan and you give GRE, although GRE is not required, we will still target for some scholarship from these universities. Having GRE score, because you are doing academically so well, I think will increase your chances of scholarship. So if you have time and if you can, do try that too.
Great. So next we have Nishant, who's asking if we didn't got 70% in graduation, then even IELTS mark doesn't matter for foreign admission.
Uh, Nishant, so with 70% is a good score. The only thing where I was saying that the difference is for the Canadian universities. Canadian universities in their system require a B plus average for the last 2 years. So if you're having 70% in the last 2 years, or overall is 70 in the last 2 years is let's say 75, then you're even eligible for Canadian universities. Otherwise, with 70%, you can apply in US, in Australia, in UK, in Ireland, everywhere. It's just the Canadian universities where that kind of there's a cutoff available.
Great. So next in the line we have Jyotsna, who was asking how to apply after diploma in Germany. Any foundation course I need to do? Please reply.
Jyotsna, if you've done your diploma, let's say 1 year diploma after your 12th class, practically in Germany they require 13 year of schooling education. So if you have completed 12 years, that's your 12th standard and 1 year of diploma, you can actually apply for a bachelor's degree in Germany in the required program. That makes you eligible for Germany bachelor's degree and not a master's program.
Great. So Ankit is asking, sir, which country is best for doing law and politics in foreign except India?
Ankit, I think there are two countries where most of our students go for law studies. UK definitely. The reason is that UK education is highly valued within the law system of India. Also, the Indian legal system is based on the UK legal system. So there's a high similarity in the two. So therefore, UK still remains as the top destination for Indian students to study law. Uh, the other destination which is there is again Australia, where students do both bachelor's and postgraduate programs, or JD, which is like a dual program, or students even do LLB as a graduate entry program after their undergraduate. So that's also a good country. Again, the legal systems are similar in nature and very highly valued. Some of the very unique programs, especially like in maritime law, are available in Australia, which are difficult to find otherwise in other countries.
All right, great, great. So Ajit, next in the line is, I believe, Priyanka Khosla, who's asking also some kind of research assistant job would, or an MPhil degree from Indian University could also suffice for research experience. I completed my master's last year with 5.88 CPI in economics.
Right. So you've already done your MPhil, Priyanka, and you want to apply for a PhD program. Typically, what they look for is publications that you had in part of your research experience, because that is something that they want to look at. Something which has been recognized internationally. Also, what will be required is a strong research proposal which fits into the interests of the professor that you're applying to. Applying for PhD is a tedious process. What you need to do is you need to identify the professors who have a similar research interest as you, and reach out to them with your research proposal. So typically, if you are accepted by a faculty as a research assistant, and then they will add as an advisor for your PhD, that's how the whole PhD process happens. Your MPhil experience will be valuable, but having published research is also, I would believe, important. Absolutely. And having a strong research proposal related to your past experience will again be valuable.
Great, great. So I hope that solves the query. Next in the line we have Ross, who is asking the scope of scholarships in UK for postgrad, for PG basically.
Ross, I mean, sometimes when we think of scholarships, it's because a lot of students ask me that, I get biased to thinking of 100% scholarship. Unless you have very high grades and you score, you have an exceptional profile, it is tough to get 100% scholarships. But yes, if you are applying for, if you have a good academic background, universities do offer 5 to 15 to 25% scholarships as well. UK, the postgraduate programs are, you can pick a 1 year program that reduces your overall expense as well. So I would suggest that, depending on your budget, scholarship is a way to figure out how to manage your finances more than anything else.
Absolutely.
So I think it should be thought of as a holistic thing. But getting scholarships, 100% very tough in UK. But yes, you can get up to 25%.
Great. So next in the line we have Biswajit, who's asking, I've done BTech in electrical engineering, but I want to change from engineering to management. So should one opt for PG diploma or MBA in Canada? I have 1 year experience as operational analyst.
Sure, Biswajit. I think I also am an engineer and I moved on to the management side. If you're in Canada and you're looking for moving to the management side, I think depending on your profile and your budget. So if you are having a strong profile, like I mentioned, 75% plus marks, and you are able to, come up with about 30 lakhs of tuition fee over 2 years, then I would suggest going for a management program. Could be engineering management, could be an MBA program. Or if you're looking for a slightly cheaper option, which is 15 up to 15 lakhs, then you should go for a PG diploma of 2 years. Frankly, depending on what kind of a career you are trying to build, colleges will give you more vocational training and will get you quickly into the job market. If you're looking for having a more research-oriented interest, then I would say definitely pick only universities. But yes, I would suggest that if you're having a good profile, even going to a good college in Canada is going to be a good way for you to transition into management.
Great. So next we have Shivani, who's asking, would like to know if job opportunities are good in California or Boston in analytics profile.
Absolutely, California is the hub for best tech companies around the world, and Boston and New York very close by to each other. They're again very strong city economies in themselves. Boston Consulting Group, which where I used to work, started there, and very strong companies are based out of those cities. Careers in analytics, especially data analytics, is very strong. Even if you're studying business analytics, which is less of IT and more of management and focused on business decisions. Both programs have very good opportunities in these cities and others in US.
Absolutely. Great. So next in the line we have asking, Karthik is asking, this backlogs in undergraduate affect my study abroad plan? I think definitely yes.
Sure, Karthik. Again, probably you can sign up and or get a profile evaluation done in the webinar in the morning tomorrow. Having backlogs is not a crime. I believe that everyone, we need, as individuals, we deserve second chances. So if you have very high number of backlogs, then US has universities which will be ready to give you an opportunity. If you're having up to 5 to 7 backlogs, then Canada can also be an opportunity. Up to 15 backlogs, then Australia can still be an opportunity. So depending on the number, it's going to impact, but then there are ways of figuring out what's the best option for you under the given profile.
Great, great. So next we have Disha, who is asking, is it a good idea to do masters from Canada again after doing MBA from India just to get PR? Because I can only apply after 5 years. I got 74% in MBA, but in UG I got 61%. So Canada would be the good choice.
Yeah, Disha. So frankly, I would suggest that we need a good immigration consultant and who can help you with that part of try not to use education just as a means to migrate because it's a very expensive proposition, right? Because you'll be spending even if you're doing a program from from a university for 1 year, 2 years, you're going to end up spending 15 to 30 lakh rupees. Whereas you already have an MBA degree with you and you already have the required education, I would suggest you should focus directly to apply for their express entry program and meet a qualified immigration consultant who can help you out with that process.
Great. So next we have a student who is asking, what is the process of getting scholarships in Ireland universities, trying for MSc in CS?
MSc in CS, brilliant, and I think that's a fantastic program to study in Ireland because it's becoming IT hub, and I think everybody knows that some of the world's top companies in technology are opening their data warehouses and their European headquarters in Dublin, and I think that's a great place for studies of IT and computer science. Looking at scholarships, if you're applying early, Universities, even the top universities, are offering certain scholarships up to 5,000 euros. It's a one-year program, so it's one-time scholarship. Typically, if you are looking for free education, I would suggest don't go for Ireland. One-year programs are usually more intense.
Okay.
Even then, they're doing a part-time job becomes difficult.
Okay.
So budget for both education and expense on living. But if your overall expenses are, your budget is lower, look at universities like Dublin Institute of Technology or University of Limerick, which are much more economical and practically would give you great opportunities post your graduation. And frankly, University of Limerick, your MSc would be like 13 to 14 lakhs, and they can offer up to 50% of scholarship. So that makes it very, very economical, and it's also quite economical to live in that city. It's about 2 hours from Dublin, so that can be an option for you.
Great. So then in the line we have Sukanya is asking which country is good for MS in data science.
MS in data science, Sukanya, I would say I would pick 2 countries as my top choices. Ireland is a great, depending on your profile. Again, I mean, if you are having a great undergraduate profile, then I would suggest applying to UCD and TCD. Also, US has some very good programs in data science and a lot of corporations working in that domain, a lot of technology companies, and has great career prospects. Lastly, if I say that in data science, I would pick Australia, which has some very good programs and you can go to top universities around the world, and that can be really helpful in terms of building that right kind of education background for yourself.
Great, great. So I believe most of the queries that we are having in the comment sections are sorted, and we have tried to answer maximum number of queries right now. So guys, we'll move towards winding up our first webinar in the study abroad webinar bootcamp for admit card. So before moving ahead, I'd like to go through the schedule for the bootcamp for you guys, because I can see lots and lots of specific queries coming up in the comment section. And guys, it becomes very difficult for us to answer each and every query, every generic query. So this was a very generic overall webinar, but we will answer each and every query in greater details. So let me just quickly walk you through the the schedule for this bootcamp. So we had our first webinar right now, which we will wind up in next 2 to 3 minutes, and so we covered the complete overall journey of studying abroad. Next webinar we have today 6 p.m. in the evening. Guys, mark your calendars. We will have next webinar today evening at 6 p.m. and in that webinar we will be talking about various entrance exams, for example IELTS, TOEFL, PTE, GRE. We will be talking about some tips and tricks. We will be also sharing with you how you can avail that 40% discount on your registration fees. So we will also be sharing that info with you guys in that webinar. Apart from that, tomorrow 1 p.m. we will be all talking about shortlisting universities and profile evaluations. So we have tried to cover maximum number of queries here, but we will also be talking about specifically on shortlisting universities and profile evaluations in tomorrow's webinar, which we will start at 1 p.m. same time. Then again in the evening at 6 p.m. tomorrow, we will be giving you guidance and tips and tricks on SOPs, LORs, resumes and essays. Because I believe apart from your marks, apart from your academics, your admission documents, these SOPs and LORs create a major and play a very big role in getting you admitted or being left out of the university. So we will give you all the tips and tricks on SOPs and LORs in tomorrow's webinar 6 p.m. in the evening. And lastly talking about Thursday. So Thursday is a big day for us. We will be having 3 webinars. So at 10 a.m. we will be talking about scholarships, loans and financial planning. Guys, that is the most important aspect. And I believe there are many people who have asked कि हम scholarships कैसे ले सकते हैं, हम loans की planning कैसे कर सकते हैं, किस country में कितनी cost है. उन सारी चीज़ों की तैयारी हम Thursday यानी परसों अपने सुबह 10 बजे वाले webinar में हम सारी queries discuss करेंगे और उसके बारे में in greater details आपको बताएंगे. इतना ही नहीं, इसके बाद जो हमारा 1 बजे वेबिनार होगा परसों थर्सडे को, वी विल टेल यू एंड टू एंड अबाउट द वीजा प्रोसेस एंड वीजा प्रोसेस एप्लीकेशन। बिकॉज गाइज आप लोग का एडमिशन आ जाएगा, आप लोग की एडमिट आ जाएगा, बट अगर गॉड फॉरबिड वीजा नहीं लगता, सो देन एवरीथिंग गोज इन वेन। सो वीजा इज वेरी वेरी क्रिटिकल पॉइंट। सो परसों 1 बजे वाला वेबिनार आप लोग जरूर अटेंड करें। एंड देन एट द एंड परसों शाम को 7 बजे वी विल हैव द लास्ट वेबिनार ऑफ दिस बूट कैंप विच इज अबाउट द प्री डिपार्चर एंड पोस्ट डिपार्चर गाइडेंस, जहां पे हम आपको वो वैल्यूज और वो चीजें बताएंगे जो और कोई इमिग्रेशन कंसल्टेंट या कोई भी कंसल्टेंट आपको नहीं बताते हैं, कि किन चीजों के लिए आपको तैयार रहना चाहिए, वहां पे आप क्या क्या चीजें लेके जाएं, और वहां पे कैसे हमारे मेंटर्स, रेसिडेंट मेंटर्स आपको पिक कर सकते हैं, आपको मिल सकते हैं और आपको गाइड कर सकते हैं, राइट। सो गाइस, ये YouTube पे हमारा जो चैनल है इसको लाइक करें, सब्सक्राइब करें, सो दैट जितने भी वेबिनार्स हैं उसके लिए आपको नोटिफिकेशंस आती रहें। हम लोग आपको मेल्स भेजेंगे, SMS भेजेंगे, आपको लिंक शेयर करेंगे, सो दैट जितने भी वेबिनार्स हैं कुछ मिस ना हो। सो कंप्लीट दिस बूट कैंप, अटेंड ऑल द वेबिनार्स एंड जनरेट tons and tons of value for you. Thank you guys for watching. Like, subscribe and share our videos. Thank you guys. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Bye bye.
Hi, I'm Prateek Biani. I'm a student at the University of Sydney studying Bachelor's in Civil Engineering, and I've been associated with AdmitCard for the past 1 year, and I've mentored approximately 100 students. I'm here with AdmitCard today to explain to you what the mentoring program is like. It's a very informal sort of a mentoring program where students get to chat with students abroad one-on-one and ask their queries related to food, application process, accommodation, part-time jobs, scholarships, etc. Most of the questions we get are normally frequently asked questions. They're regarding the basic stuff regarding the applications, but there's a lot of specific questions as well. In cases of specific questions, I prefer to ask further questions so that I understand the query well in the first place, and then I'm able to inform the student with a well-informed answer. At certain places, there have been situations where I didn't know the answer myself. In those cases, I informed the AdmitCard team, and they had an advisor contact the student and resolve the query. We as mentors need to maintain a fair amount of decency and approach the conversations formally, because we're mentors and they're students, and even though the program is quite informal, the conversations need to be formal so as to prepare the students as well for the formal life abroad. In terms of maintaining the decency, it's stuff like not using slangs too often, and I personally don't use slangs at all in the conversations, and treating them with respect rather than using words like tu or main. Maintain a professional conversation and use pronouns as I or he or she. That would be much helpful. One more thing, mentor.